There was once a boy who was never on time, not late in a careless way, not rude, not rebellious, just always asking for more. 5 more minutes in bed, 5 more minutes to finish eating, 5 more minutes before leaving. He said it gently, with a smile, as if time were something soft, something endless. And for a while, the world seemed to agree with him. The boy lived in a quiet village, where life followed the same rhythm every day. Morning bells, midday work, evening lamps. Time mattered there. Fishermen followed tides. Farmers followed the sun. Trains passed only once. But the boy treated time like it would always wait. And somehow, it did. The first strange thing happened on an ordinary morning. The boy woke late again. His mother called from the doorway, voice patient but tired. "Get up," she said. "You'll miss breakfast." The boy turned toward the wall and whispered what he always did. "Just 5 more minutes." The clock on his bedside table clicked softly, then ticked backward. Just once. The boy didn't see it, but something in the room felt heavier. That day, his mother arrived late for work. Not by much, just enough to be noticed. Her supervisor frowned. The schedule shifted. Another worker had to stay longer. No one blamed the boy. No one blamed anyone. They simply said, "It's one of those days." The next day, the boy asked again. 5 more minutes to tie his shoes. 5 more minutes to finish his story. 5 more minutes before walking to school. The classroom clock slowed. Not enough to stop lessons. Not enough to alarm anyone. But the teacher rushed through the final page. A student missed a question. The bell rang too soon. Someone lost time, and the boy gained it. The pattern was quiet, invisible, but it grew. Each time the boy asked for more, someone else ran out. A baker burned bread. A nurse missed a break. A traveler arrived moments too late to catch the only bus home. Nothing tragic. Nothing dramatic. Just pressure. Life began to feel tighter around the village. People spoke faster, moved quicker, slept less. And the boy? The boy was never rushed. He liked that. He liked that time bent for him. Homework was easier when deadlines softened. Conversations were calmer when pauses stretched. He didn't notice how tired everyone looked. Or maybe he did, but asking was easier than stopping. One evening, the boy passed the village square and noticed something strange. The old clock tower, the one that had marked time for generations, was silent. No chime, no ticking, just stillness. An elderly man stood beneath it, watching the hands. "They're slowing," the man murmured. The boy felt a small chill, but it passed. That night, the boy lay in bed, thinking about time, how it always seemed to stretch when he wanted it to, how other people always seemed short of it. He told himself it wasn't connected. And even if it was, He wasn't stealing. He was just asking. The next morning, he asked again. 5 more minutes. The room went quiet. No ticking, no wind. The sunlight froze midway across the floor. The boy sat up. The world had stopped. He stepped outside. No birds moved. No voices echoed. A leaf hung in the air, unfinished in its fall. The boy called out, "No answer." For the first time, there was no one left to lose time for him. He had borrowed too much. He wandered the frozen village, heart pounding. People stood mid-step, mid-sentence, mid-breath. Time wasn't gone. It was exhausted. The boy returned home and sat on his bed. For the first time in his life, he waited not for 5 minutes, not for permission. Just waited. When the clock finally ticked again, the sound was loud. The world resumed. Birds flew. Voices returned. The leaf hit the ground. No one remembered the pause, except the boy. From that day on, he stopped asking, not because he was afraid, but because he understood. Time was never his to borrow. It was something shared, and every moment he took had come from someone else. Years passed. The boy grew older. He woke early. He arrived on time. He learned to leave before he was called. People noticed. They trusted him sometimes when he felt tempted to linger, to ask for just a little more. He listened and heard the ticking. Steady. Alive. Enough. Because time, once taken, does not return the same. As an adult, he learned something new. Time could still be borrowed, just not in minutes. People borrowed time through expectations, through urgency, through saying just one more thing when someone was already tired, through taking attention without asking. He saw it everywhere. At work, people rushed into rooms and filled them with demands. They spoke quickly. They interrupted. They left nothing behind but exhaustion. The man stayed. He listened. He waited until others finished. And somehow, conversation slowed around him. One evening, a young woman stayed late at the office. She stared at a broken clock on the wall. "It stopped again," she said. The man looked at it. "It didn't stop," he replied. "It ran out." She laughed, then stopped. "What do you mean?" she asked. He didn't answer. Not yet. That night, he dreamed of the village. Not frozen, just tired. People walking too fast. Clocks ticking unevenly. Evening, arriving before anyone was ready. He woke before sunrise, and for the first time in years, he felt afraid. The boy grew up. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. Time did not punish him for what he had taken. It did not reward him either. It simply continued, and that, more than anything, felt like mercy. As a man, he became known for something unusual. He was never late. Not once. He arrived before meetings began. He waited quietly at stations. He listened without interrupting. People trusted him with schedules, with deadlines, with moments that mattered. They said he was dependable. They did not know why. He worked as a keeper of records. Nothing grand. He maintained timetables, restored old ledges, repaired clocks when they stopped. Not because he loved clocks, but because he listened to them. Sometimes, late at night, when the building was empty and the lamps were dim, he would pause and feel something old stir inside him. A memory not of the frozen world, but of the waiting. He remembered sitting on his bed in a world that could not move, how silence had felt heavier than noise ever could, how time, once exhausted, had not disappeared. It had simply refused. The next day, something small happened. A train arrived late, by seconds. But the platform filled with frustration. People checked their watches, complained, demanded explanations. The man stood still and felt the air tighten. He recognized it. That pressure. The same one from his childhood. Time wasn't stopping. It was thinning. Over the following weeks, it happened again. Appointments overlapped. Schedules conflicted. People rushed harder and gained less. The man noticed something else. Children were waiting. He saw it in schools. Children raised hands and were told to hurry, asked questions and were interrupted, told there wasn't time. Not now. Not later. One boy reminded him of himself. Not late. Just patient. Waiting to be allowed 5 more minutes to think. The man approached the boy's teacher one day. "You're rushing him," he said gently. "We're all rushed," she replied. "There's no time." The man felt the weight of that sentence. That night, he returned to the old clock tower. It had been repaired long ago, but it never felt right. The ticking was uneven. He climbed the stairs and placed his hand on the gears. For a moment, he felt it again. That old bend, that quiet wrongness. He spoke aloud. Not a wish, not a demand. Just the truth. "I took time once," he said, "and I learned what it costs." The clock did not answer, but it steadied. The man understood then. Time was not angry. It was tired. From that day on, he did something strange. He began giving time back. He stayed late so others could leave early. He slowed meetings until decisions made sense. He let silence exist in conversations. People noticed. They began to breathe. The city did not change overnight, but clocks stopped breaking. Trains arrived on time. Children were allowed to finish sentences. Years later, the man grew old. Not quickly, not slowly, just evenly. On his final morning, he sat beside a window and listened to the ticking. Steady, alive, shared. He smiled because he finally understood. Time does not belong to us. It moves through us, and the greatest gift is not asking for more but knowing when to wait. Subscribe to Once Upon a Shadow, where fairy tales go dark.